Upon returning from studying abroad, I discovered that the fiancé my parents had chosen for me was already engaged. The engagement banquet was exceedingly grand, with everyone remarking that the young master of the Gu group and the daughter of the G family were a perfect match, destined by fate. Standing before the G family gate, individuals from the Gu group coldly obstructed me. An invitation is required to see our madam. Looking up, I saw the madam intimately linked with Leonard was none other than my family's nanny's daughter. Halt! Who are you? An invitation is required to see our madam. Upon my return to the country, I headed to my family's residence, only to be blocked at the gate by several unfamiliar men. I scrutinized the burly man before me, my gaze lingering on the badges pinned to their chests, and with a cold smirk, I read aloud, Gu group? This time, upon my return, my parents instructed me to meet the fiancé arranged for me in childhood, Leonard, the young master of the Gu group. My secretary, Maggie, swiftly reacted, stepping in front of me. What do you mean your madam? Miss Serena is standing right here, and she is your Leonard's fiancé. Unexpectedly, the burly men grew even more indignant upon hearing this. The madam is, of course, the daughter of the G family. Our Leonard is already engaged to her. You insignificant nobodies dare to impersonate our madam? What an outrageous farce. Leave at once and cease this nonsense. As they spoke, the gate of the old residence swung open. Looking up, I saw Leonard and the so-called madam they mentioned departing arm in arm, none other than Darlene, the daughter of the old residence's nanny. Observing our refusal to depart, the burly men promptly drew batons they carried to drive us away. Maggie intended to step forward and argue further, but I restrained her. Seated in the car, she incessantly voiced her indignation on my behalf. Miss, that is clearly your home. Don't you know me yet? I'm not one to yield so easily, I said with a sly smile directed at her. After boarding the car, I silently tapped at the keyboard. Maggie assumed I was enraged until she glimpsed the screen, leaving her nearly speechless with astonishment. I accessed the G Group's terminal and suspended all collaborative projects with the Gu Group. As the sole heir of the G family, my parents had granted me full authority over the G Group upon reaching adulthood, and though I had focused on my studies with little involvement in company affairs, this now proved advantageous. Units, tens, hundreds, millions, tens of millions. Maggie pointed at the figures, dumbfounded. In terms of cash flow alone, the Gu Group stood to lose tens of millions daily, though the G Group would incur some losses as well yet. Given its extensive industries, I deemed this amount inconsequential. Seek the old butler, I instructed. A mere invitation requirement could hardly confound me during my years studying abroad. The old butler had remained with my parents, frequently mentioning me to them. In recent years, his mobility had declined, and after my parents and I relocated abroad, they arranged a residence for his retirement. Grandpa Butler, I forgot to bring the official seal, I said. With practiced ease, I opened a drawer in his study, printed an invitation, and affixed the G Group's seal, then utilized my authority to fax it to long-term partners with whom I collaborated online. As I worked, Maggie succinctly explained the recent events to the old butler. When I departed for studies abroad, I took the nanny who had cared for me since childhood. My parents selected Nellie to serve them, and though I had not returned home, I had seen her and her daughter on my parents' Facebook. Considering the hardship of raising a child, they permitted Darlene to reside with them. Subsequently, my parents joined me abroad, leaving Nellie to maintain the old residence. I never anticipated that these two would possess the audacity to usurp my identity. Accompanied by the butler, I returned to the G residence with the invitation in hand. The guards at the entrance, upon seeing it, dared not obstruct us further. Now I intended to observe what further schemes Darlene might devise. Before we could settle on the living room sofa, a shrill female voice rang out. Who are you? Who permitted your entry? Darlene regarded me haughtily, as though she were the rightful master of this domain. Is this how you address guests, with such clamor? Is this the G family's custom? Do you know who I am? I am the eldest daughter of the G family, Leonard's fiancé. What are you in comparison? Uttering this status, she involuntarily curved her lips into a smug smile. The servants from the inner courtyard, alerted by the commotion, were already standing by. I observed that she had even replaced all the staff within my family's inner quarters. I regarded her calmly. I was invited here. Invited? What invitation? She faltered, stunned. Miss Serena, what is the purpose of inviting us here today? Raising my head, I saw that the guests I had summoned had arrived. I didn't issue any invitations, Darlene murmured, watching incredulously as the business associates streamed in. How could that be? Upon seeing an invitation from Miss Serena, I rushed here without even discussing projects, one guest declared, brandishing an invitation unmistakably stamped with the G Group's seal, irrefutable in its authenticity. A flicker of panic crossed Darlene's face, yet she feigned composure in her response. I apologize, I genuinely don't know, perhaps it was sent in error. This was officially dispatched to me by your G Group. Is your management so disorganized? There's no sincerity whatsoever. Are you mocking us small enterprises? I observed the unrelenting guests. Though their enterprises were modest in scale, they were all busy individuals managing myriad affairs daily. Darlene's perfunctory attitude was certain to dissatisfy them. It appears this lady is uninformed, she must not be Miss Serena, I interjected to steer the conversation, prompting an immediate, anxious retort from Darlene. Of course I am. But I truly didn't send the invitation. Someone must be impersonating me. I watched her obstinate denial without exposing her. Since everyone is here, let us convene. I have long heard of the young lady's exceptional piano talent. Might I have the privilege of a demonstration today? I forge friendships through music and hope the young lady will oblige. Those within this circle are aware that Serena has been lauded as a piano prodigy since childhood, often delighting guests with a performance. Her original composition, Dreaming of the Mundane, premiered at her coming-of-age ceremony, gained widespread acclaim. A momentary astonishment flashed across Darlene's face, swiftly replaced by composure. I regret to say that I am unwell today and unfit to play the piano. My social media consistently features videos of me playing the piano with my back to the camera. If she intends to impersonate me, she must possess the requisite skill. The young lady clearly posted a video this morning. It seems she disdains us small businesses. The guests regarded her with evident displeasure. Receiving an invitation only to face such dismissal would provoke resentment even in the most patient individuals. Young lady, these are all business associates. You should consider this carefully. You cannot afford to offend them, even a simple tune to appease them would suffice. As she wavered, her nearby confidants grew restless, whispering suggestions to her in hushed tones. Darlene appeared persuaded, yet hesitated upon glancing at the piano. Could it be that you truly are not Miss Serena and cannot play? I struck at her insecurity, and at last, clenching her teeth, she seated herself at the piano bench. Miss Serena, you've finally consented to play. I am fortunate indeed today. Indeed, I've long heard of Miss Serena's remarkable piano skills. Miss Serena, I've yearned to hear you perform Dreaming of the Mundane again. Will you present it today? Seeing her willingness to perform, the guests' expressions softened considerably, gazing at her with anticipation, yet the more they praised her, the graver her countenance became. Miss Serena, proceed, I declared definitively. The surroundings hushed, and Darlene, biting her lip, pressed the piano keys one by one. The crowd gradually grew restless. Is this the piano prodigy? My daughter could achieve this level. Yet I've seen the videos. Though filmed from behind, the skill is markedly superior to this. After a faltering rendition concluded, the guests' expressions were vivid with reaction. Darlene preemptively cited physical discomfort, but her excuse, overly cursory, further fueled their discontent. I quietly approached the vacant piano bench, raised my hands, and played with confidence. The surroundings gradually silenced as I transitioned to the melody of Dreaming of the Mundane. My goodness! It's that piece! Someone recognized, exclaiming softly, though they swiftly stifled further words to avoid disrupting my rhythm. I concluded the piece fluidly and turned to Darlene. Miss Serena, it seems your skills have diminished overnight. Or perhaps, you are not Serena at all? At that moment, the guests' gazes upon Darlene brimmed with suspicion and scrutiny. Who allowed you entry? Leonard hastened over, but his arrival was belated. Darlene, as if finding a pillar of support, glanced at me pointedly and spoke aggrievedly. Brother Leonard, they forced me to play and questioned my identity. Leonard glared at me furiously. What are you to dare bully my fiancé? I regarded him calmly. Leonard, after all these years, I did not expect you to be so devoid of discernment. This arranged betrothal was arduously petitioned for by Leonard's parents years ago. Subsequently, out of regard for this bond, my family repeatedly offered lucrative projects to the Gu Group, paving the way for its current prominence, yet Leonard showed me no respect whatsoever. I don't even know you. Leonard, let's speak civilly. Just now Some people considered speaking, but compared to Gu's, they were all small businesses after all, and they dared not offend Leonard. Silence, all of you. Get out. My fiancé is the rightful eldest daughter of the G family. If you dare criticize her, I'll make you regret it. In an instant, only a few of us remained in the room. The summoned security personnel, hearing Leonard's enraged outburst, encircled me. The burly men identified me. Leonard. We expelled this woman, yet she returned with an invitation alongside the old butler. What old butler? This is clearly a fraud colluding with her. Darlene spoke opportunely, rousing Leonard. Did you hear that? Expel these people at once. With Leonard's affirmative response, the burly men charged to restrain me. Darlene. Don't you even recognize me? I demanded. The old butler gazed at Darlene in disbelief, yet she cowered in Leonard's embrace, timidly responding, Brother Leonard, this isn't our family's butler. How could I fail to recognize him? I recall he mentioned Darlene, the nanny's daughter, but what does she have to do with me? The old butler was seized by the burly men, his cane clattering onto the tiled floor with a sharp sound. Maggie stepped forward to shield me, but she was ultimately no match for several trained men. Leonard, see clearly who I am. I shouted, struggling, yearning to charge forward and slap this pair of blatant liars. Brother Leonard, she came for you. Darlene suddenly shed tears, prompting Leonard's distress. He raised his hand and delivered a firm slap. I don't know where you've chased me from, but I'll tell you, Serena is the only woman for me in this lifetime. Look closely, I am Serena. I shouted defiantly, my neck rigid, unmoved by my resistance. Leonard's fury intensified, landing a solid punch. Restrained by the burly men, I couldn't evade and endured the blow, trembling in pain. Suppressing intense pain, I declared, she's the imposter. Dare to treat me thus when my parents return, neither you nor the Gu Group will be spared. Leonard sneered, bold words. Let's see if you survive until rescue arrives. Men, strike her. Robust security personnel surrounded me, their eyes reflecting resolute indifference. In despair, I closed my eyes. A sudden roar erupted from outside, release my daughter. My father strode forward in mere steps, parting the security personnel. His formidable presence momentarily stunned even the trained men. They instinctively released their grip on me. Inertia nearly sent me crashing to the ground, but my father and Maggie swiftly steadied me. The recent ordeal left me dizzy. My father's arrival instilled a sense of relief akin to surviving a calamity. I took several deep breaths to regain a semblance of reality. Seeing me gasping after rising, my father, silent for a while, deduced I had suffered immense grievance. Enraged, he swung a fist fiercely at Leonard. The security personnel failed to react in time, nor did Leonard anticipate that my typically refined father would abruptly resort to violence. Unable to dodge, his face was instantly marred. He winced sharply, meeting my father's furious gaze. Suppressing cries, he clenched his teeth to endure. Observing the standoff, Darlene spoke to break the silence. Uncle, might there be a misunderstanding? Brother Leonard acted impulsively just now. Her silence would have been preferable. Her voice drew my father's attention to her presence. He squinted, appraising her from head to toe. Today, Darlene wore a moon-white dress, subdued in hue yet exquisitely crafted upon close inspection, its hem adorned with intricate Burano lace. Upon closer examination, the dress struck me as familiar. Before I could recall fully, my father spoke. This dress was custom-made for my daughter. Whence did you obtain it? Years ago, my wife pitied your mother's struggle raising you and allowed you to reside in the old residence, unwittingly inviting a thief into our home. His words jogged my memory. When my father traveled to Venice for business, he brought me a white dress, favoring vibrant colors. Then, I glanced at it once and left it in the wardrobe. His bluntness spared Darlene no dignity. Leonard, enduring pain through gritted teeth for some time, could no longer remain seated. Uncle, perhaps you're mistaken, with so many dresses, I coincidentally gifted her a similar one. His voice quivered, evidence of my father's forceful blow. Leonard, are you doubting me? I'll have you know, the lace contains Roman script my daughter's name. Today, you dared have my daughter beaten, defied me, and defended this woman. I'd like to hear how your parents raised you. My father pulled me to the sofa, his anger unabated, and promptly dialed Leonard's parents. Maggie helped the old housekeeper up and sat down next to me. Leonard stood there, not daring to sit down. Darlene wanted to reach out and rub his bruised face from my dad's beating, but he stopped her with a look. The security personnel glanced at us, uncertain. Leonard nodded for them to depart, nudging Darlene to exit with them, but my father caught this subtle maneuver. Where to? None of you are leaving. Having navigated the business world for decades with decisive authority, my father's command subdued the group, heads bowed in timid compliance. Looking at this group of people who were so arrogant just now, not daring to breathe under my father's eyes, I fell on the cashmere sofa with satisfaction. My father noticed that I had relaxed, and his expression softened a little. "Oh, Mr. Charles, it's been a while," Madame Gloria's voice preceded her as she hurried in. I glanced at the doorway. After years, Madame Gloria appeared rejuvenated and radiant, adorned in designer attire and glittering jewelry, her Louboutins clicking resoundingly with each brisk step. Beside her, Mr. Thomas stood tall and aloof, his LV belt gleaming. Both bore little resemblance to the unassuming figures who once visited our home. I recall when I was young, the Goo Group was merely a small firm. Leonard's parents visited us with genuine demeanor. My parents, noting their dedication and disinterest in fame, fostered a deepening bond. Multiple collaborations revealed their gratitude and indifference to prestige, further pleasing my parents and forging a close friendship. Unexpectedly, these once sincere individuals had transformed in the intervening years. Why such a temper? An errant child can be corrected with a few adult words, Madame Gloria jested, pulling Mr. Thomas to sit beside us without so much as a courteous greeting. A few words? Are you aware of your son's egregious actions? From their entry, my father harbored discontent. Their conduct now reignited his subsided ire. Mr. Charles, it's merely childish jest. Let Leonard apologize to Serena, and it's settled, Mr. Thomas said with a vague smile, beckoning Leonard to bow to me. As Leonard approached, sporting a large bruise, Mr. Thomas noted it, displeased. "Mr. Charles, see here, you've struck him, and he's borne it. Let's move past this." His tone bore no reproach for Leonard, only dissatisfaction with my father's actions. "Oh, Mr. Charles, however grave Leonard's fault, to suffer such injury you're not treating us as friends," Madame Gloria lamented. Glancing over, Madame Gloria saw her cherished son's sizable wound and, clutching him, berated my father. "Regardless of his errors, you shouldn't have raised a hand. Leonard is the son-in-law you endorsed, well-mannered and agreeable. What did he do today to provoke you?" Madame Gloria's mention only reminded my father of this vexing matter. As a child, Leonard was indeed upright and exceptional. 2 years my senior, I enjoyed trailing him, mischievous by nature. I irritated the Cheen and Lee brothers, yet Leonard never minded me. He not only played with me willingly but prioritized my needs, caring for me diligently. When my father gave him chocolate, he'd split it to share half with me. Leonard's parents once playfully suggested an arranged betrothal during our playtime. My parents, rather than hastily agreeing, observed Leonard extensively, confirming his rare virtue before consenting when the proposal was raised again. "Leonard, Madame Gu, do you grasp the full context? Ask him yourselves what he's just done." My father, unwilling to elaborate, ceased speaking with a dour expression. Madame Gloria, somewhat apprehensive, inquired, "Leonard, explain what happened. Did you jest with Serena too recklessly?" She sought to minimize the incident, but Leonard, lacking wit, was further dazed by my father's punch today. "Mom," she targeted Darlene the moment she returned, leveraging her status as a young lady, nearly ruining Darlene. "Didn't you say I could be with whomever I liked? You approved of Darlene. That betrothal means nothing." "Absurdity." Mr. Thomas, still lucid, halted Leonard's outpouring upon comprehending the situation. "Mr. Charles, my son was momentarily deluded. He typically misses Serena abroad most today. He was surely swayed by this woman." Men have their youthful follies, as you must understand. Mr. Thomas rose, apologized to my father first, then pressed Leonard to bow. My father snorted, unconvinced. I must clarify this today. Serena studied abroad for years, with her mother and me away. How did Darlene become mistress here? What's Leonard's intent, backing this woman? My father's pointed question struck the core. Leonard opened his mouth to reply, and his flustered demeanor revealed his intent to plead for Darlene. Mr. Thomas covertly twisted his arm, glaring fiercely, silencing him. Madame Gloria moved to soften Leonard's words but was restrained by Mr. Thomas. After prolonged deliberation, he spoke gravely. Mr. Charles, Leonard acts thoughtlessly, but you know his nature, he'd never be swayed by emotion. Moreover, he and Serena, childhood companions, share an unshakable bond. During Serena's absence, he often visited the old residence to reminisce, meeting this woman then. Serena's sudden return, so striking, understandably confounded Leonard momentarily. Her mistreatment must stem from this woman's instigation. Leonard, inexperienced, fell into her trap. As for how this woman dared claim mastery here, that's a matter for the residence's management. Mr. Thomas's discourse shifted all blame to Darlene, casting Leonard as an innocent youth. So, this woman is the origin? My father queried with a mirthless smile, seemingly swayed. Naturally, Leonard's care for Serena remains steadfast. Very well, then I'll severely punish this deceitful woman today to restore propriety. My father glanced subtly at Leonard, his tone stern. First, administer 50 harsh slaps to curb her reckless tongue. At my father's command, the G family servants prepared, and Leonard, unable to remain passive, surged forward. I noticed purplish bruises on his arm from Mr. Thomas's pinches. Without that restraint, he'd likely have defended his lover and challenged my father from the outset. He knelt directly before my father. Uncle, all this is my fault alone. Punish me, only Darlene is innocent. As he knelt, Darlene joined him, kneeling together. Their eyes betrayed reluctance, a truly fitting pair. I merely envied the young lady's status and imitated her. I bore no malice toward her. Uncle, Darlene mimicked her at my suggestion. Lacking experience, she chose a cheap dress, mistakenly taking this custom one. Rest assured, I'll replace it with an identical one for Serena. I harbored no attachment to Leonard. Were it not for my parents' frequent mentions of the betrothal, I wouldn't have spared him a glance upon returning. I calmly voiced my stance. Dad, the betrothal holds no weight. I feel nothing for Leonard. Yet Darlene's impersonation and Leonard's order to assault me cannot be overlooked. Further talk is futile. Let's pursue legal recourse. Barely had I finished when Madame Gloria interjected anxiously. Serena, reconsider, marriage is significant. You and Leonard, well acquainted, are an ideal match. She professed concern for me, yet her intent was to cling to the G group's influence. She likely assumed that, having been abroad for years, my parents and I were uninformed upon our sudden return. Is that so? But Leonard is already engaged. Having a better option, why fixate on me? I smiled faintly. My father, arriving in haste, hadn't seen the news. I opened my phone, showing him Leonard's grandiose proposal on Facebook from 6 months prior, the comments uniformly praising the couple's compatibility. Serena, Leonard just explained it was mere play acting with Miss Darlene. Reconsider. She pressed further, but I, unreceptive, rose to depart. My father, sensing my resolve, said little and stood with me. Seeing us disregard propriety, Madame Gloria grew irate. Mr. Charles, Serena and Leonard's betrothal has witnesses. Everyone in our circle knows these children were pledged. Consider this carefully. Today our Gu family is now a leading enterprise. Breaking the engagement is simple, but Serena will struggle to find another suitable match. Madame Gloria, abandoning restraint, laid bare her stance. Many in our circle arrange marriages for business alliances. My parents chose Leonard partly for this reason. Yet, as the Gu group rose, I became, in their eyes, the unwanted one. Spare your concern, you'd best worry about the Gu group, I said, legs crossed, devoid of regret over the broken engagement. Over the years, the G group's industries have globalized, with subsidiaries worldwide. Though domestic efforts focus on declining sectors, its strength endures. Evidently, Mr. Thomas, insular in his approach, lacks comprehension of the G group. Mr. Thomas's phone rang just then. His secretary's urgent voice answered, "Chairman, disaster, all projects with the G Group are halted, our cash flow can sustain us a week at most." Stunned for a prolonged moment, he issued orders only after prodding. Leonard's parents, arriving hastily, hadn't yet realized I'd unilaterally suspended all projects. Now, receiving this news, they were thrown into disarray. "Mr. Charles, let's discuss this calmly. We'll certainly discipline the child for his ignorance." Leonard, bewildered, eyed Mr. Thomas's drastic shift, still defiant. "Dad. With Goo Group's many partners, should we fear them?" Unaware of the gravity, Leonard faced Mr. Thomas's clarity. A harsh slap followed. "Foolish son. Kowtow and apologize to Uncle Charles, and to Serena properly." Smirking obsequiously at my father, he forced Leonard to kowtow thrice. My father offered no reply. Glancing at me, Mr. Thomas swiftly responded, "Serena, reprimand Leonard as you see fit. Persuade your father. Our families mustn't sever ties thus." "I can't dictate my father's will. Had he not come today, Leonard would have left me dead or maimed. Indeed, Serena's injuries cannot be dismissed since you've not treated us as friends. Don't fault our ruthlessness." I gazed incredulously at my mother at the door. I'd meant to ask about her when my father arrived. Now, seeing her with a lawyer, clarity dawned. "Lawyer Zhang, thank you for handling company matters today. Please take on a civil case as well." Lawyer Zhang, specially retained by the legal department, likely accompanied my mother from the company after she received my father's message. Maggie, unable to wait, dragged him to document the events. "Sister, let's talk reasonably." My mother spared Madame Gloria not a glance, sidelining her, and embraced me warmly. "Serena, Mom has tasked PR with clarifying recent events. Rest assured, your parents will never let you suffer the slightest grievance." Regardless of age, to my parents, I remain an unworldly child. Even when I impulsively halted Goo Group projects, their sole concern was my happiness. Our family of three sat harmoniously on the sofa, while the Goo family stood aside, faces clouded with embarrassment. Yet another figure was more abject still. I reached out, lifting Darlene's chin. This counterfeit heiress, since kneeling with Leonard, had been unable to interject a word. Head bowed, she knelt through our family's discourse. Save for the witless Leonard, none heeded her. For an ambitious striver like her, this was the ultimate humiliation. No matter Leonard's errors, the Goo family shielded him. She stood apart. "Darlene, have you anything more to say?" Perhaps my gaze, too scornful and cold, made her shudder. Sweat soaked her white dress at the back. "Young lady," I aired. She deflated, her voice barely audible. Releasing her, she crumpled like boneless mud onto the floor. I glimpsed Leonard clenching his fists involuntarily, yet meeting his parents' cautionary stares, he forced his gaze away. "Chairman, madam, this is my oversight." The elderly butler began to rise, only to be pressed down by my father. "Managing the residence meticulously for years, we regarded him as family. How could we blame him in retirement?" "Madam, I've compiled the details of the young lady's injuries. The incident is clear. We can sue directly," Lawyer Zhang stated. My mother nodded. "Violence begets violence is untenable. We possess a stronger response." Ignoring the Goo family's expressions, my mother ordered the servants to escort them out. Though chosen by Darlene, these servants were astute, having witnessed the drama and recognizing the true masters. Eager to distance themselves from Darlene, they fawned over us, shoving the Goo family out. "Madam, what of this woman?" one of Darlene's confidants asked. My mother frowned. "Cast out this filth, along with her belongings." Unexpectedly, Darlene offered no resistance, enduring silently. "Madam, I've toiled like a beast these years. How can you show no mercy?" When Nellie received word, Darlene stood at the door with luggage. Nellie shouted heedlessly, and as I moved to have her removed, Darlene unexpectedly led her mother away. Her atypical behavior surprised me, yet I had no time to dwell. My return entailed numerous unfinished tasks. I shadowed my parents in company affairs, assisting PR and lawyers with details in spare moments, utterly engrossed. Unexpectedly, before the PR team's article emerged, the G Group trended online with the headline, "G Group Chairman Seduces Barely Legal Girl, Irresponsible." Without viewing it, I surmised Darlene's involvement. The news had clearly purchased trending status, its popularity surging rapidly, bolstered by substantial revelations. 2 hours later, a video of Nelly tearfully clutching her daughter incited widespread outrage. Nelly claimed she was an uneducated servant, eking out a living with her daughter, believing she'd found a good household, only for her daughter to endure inhuman torment. I truly hadn't anticipated Darlene's extremes to tie herself to wealth. She manipulated my parents' routine concern for her into edited chats portraying my father's unilateral harassment. She'd even secretly photographed my father in a bath towel at home, superficially convincing. Without my parents' steadfast bond, such evidence could have imperiled his exoneration. Netizens, already harboring some resentment toward the affluent and steeped in sensational stories, firmly believed Darlene's prolonged persecution drove her exposure. Her cunning ploy ensured that targeting her now would reinforce their suspicions. My father, too furious to eat, contrasted with my mother's wry amusement. With truth on our side, what's to fear? Let's adhere to facts. My mother liaised with PR, stressing an unemotional, factual response. The seasoned team issued a reply that afternoon. Addressing each of Darlene's claims individually, they appended evidence of Nelly and Darlene's unauthorized servant replacements and the video of Darlene inciting Leonard to punish me that day. This juxtaposition spurred netizens into amateur sleuths, reconstructing events spontaneously. They not only clarified Darlene's lack of ties to my father but unraveled her tyrannical impersonation and fiancé theft. Duped netizens vented their fury on Darlene. The G Group's lawsuit against her for my intentional harm and my father's defamation garnered unanimous online support. Moreover, Leonard's philandering and volatile temper were laid bare, plunging the G Group's reputation to its nadir overnight. The G Group, flush with resources and allies, could weather a few days' project suspension. The G Group, parasitic on G support, teetered without this lifeline, now further beleaguered. Upon learning our stance, Circle insiders distanced themselves from the G Group. Leonard's parents secured neither new projects nor loans. Rumor held that operating funds came from selling their family home. This sum sustained them briefly, but insufficiently. The G Group declared bankruptcy, reducing Leonard from an envied scion to a commonplace figure. Unable to afford counsel, Leonard and Darlene faced court and received their inevitable penalties without surprise. Serena, Leonard isn't the one, shall we seek another? My mother ventured cautiously, aware I once adored trailing Leonard, uncertain of my feelings amid this fallout. Mom, I've greater priorities, I replied, brandishing my proposal with a radiant smile over romance. I aspired to be a formidable heir. Besides, a capable individual never lacks admirers.